This is a really good question, and it did make me think. Is there just too much of a power imbalance now that the people at the top, that the people at the bottom would be rebelling against, right? Every rebellion is a triangle, and there's like the ones, the twos, the threes. Are the ones just so powerful? They have so much money, so much technology, AI, drones, nuclear weapons, that the threes are never going to be able to overthrow them. And I'd say, I don't know, I don't think so, because if you look back at history, we've seen similar revolutions with similar power imbalances that have still been successful, right? So you can go all the way back to Haiti, the Haitian Revolution. I mean, this was a group, the threes were literally enslaved, mostly illiterate, enslaved Black Haitians who overthrew the ones and the twos. They overthrew kind of the white planter class and the mixed race, kind of the free people of color. You can look at China, for example, right? The Chinese Revolution, and I'm talking about the one kind of eventually led by Mao Zedong, this communist revolution in China, right? There was a power imbalance there. Chiang Kai-shek had the backing of the entire United States military, really all of the post-World War II allies, right? And yet Mao Zedong was still able to win and take control of China. And you also have Lech Wałęsa and the Solidarity movement in Poland. And I think this is the best kind of one-to-one comparison for your question, because the Polish Solidarity movement was pushing for independence and successfully pushed for independence in the 1980s while the Soviet Union was armed with the most nuclear weapons it's ever had. So then we need to ask ourselves the question, well, what did all these revolutions have in common that made them successful when there was such a power imbalance? To me, the common factor across all three is mass coalition across different groups, recognizing how many different groups can we get into our coalition and convince that the ones are oppressing all of us, right? So in Haiti, that was helped along by the fact that 90% of the population of Haiti was enslaved. I mean, they had the overwhelming majority, right? Even though they had no access to weapons, that sort of thing early on. And so you have 90% of the population. If you're able to just get people that can communicate across plantations and kind of unite these enslaved people together, which Toussaint Louverture and other leaders were able to do, you can be successful. In China, he was able to kind of unite the millions of Chinese peasants that up until that point had been fairly localized, right? If you were a Chinese peasant, you really never left your village for the most part. For most of the thousands of years of Chinese history, you were really kind of focused on almost more like a feudal system, right? What was going on in Beijing or whatever, often it had an impact, of course, on the farmers and the peasants, but it didn't really feel like a real connection, right? Mao Zedong makes that connection. He goes out to the peasants and he says, no, you are the powerhouse of China, and I'm going to use the millions of you to overthrow this elite ruling class from Beijing. Same thing, Lech Wałęsa was really, really good at this. The Solidarity movement, right? He was a labor leader, but he united across religious groups. He got Pope John Paul II involved. He united across like elites, student groups, all of them to join together, kicking out the Soviets.